Hey guys, welcome to our SpongeBob discussion. We just watched the SpongeBob on the Run movie. I'm here with Sab, the Sponge Master, and Scuff, also a Sponge Master. I'm a pretty casual SpongeBob fan, but they're huge SpongeBob nuts. And we're going to discuss the movie.
We should
start with you, Sab. You saw the movie first. You saw like a cam rip of it.
Yeah.
Let's get your impressions first.
Oh, are we talking about impressions like before we saw the movie?
Or I mean, like your thoughts about the whole movie in general.
Oh, sorry. I thought we were still doing the introduction. Well, first off, hello random person, Sab Nino here. I gotta shoehorn in that intro somehow.
That's
Honestly, in terms of Sponge on the Run, I will admit, it is a lot better than what I saw at the cam rip. I'm gonna be honest, I'm kind of on and off on either saying it's good or okay.
Right?
Because there's a lot of things I like about it, but there's also some things that I don't. But they don't really weigh down the movie that much. Like they're not terrible.
Right.
Mm-hmm.
It's so tough.
What's your impressions, Scuff, after watching the movie?
Pretty similar to Sab's. I'm kind of like a bit like dumbfounded of like, okay, like what is everything that just happened here? It was so beautiful the entire way through. My eyes were just so pleased with what they were seeing.
My eyes had an orgasm.
Seriously. But that first I guess it's a little okay, I can't go into it too much just saying my first thoughts, but after that first dream sequence went on for a while, and then it kind of reminded me of like Sponge Out of Water in that, like, you know, it was more focused on having cool things and like connecting them together. So like it's still a really fun ride. I don't know, like I thought, you know, having a simple story, I don't know, it's like it's simple but too simple, but then not simple enough. I don't know. But it was so beautiful.
I love how you said that. I feel really similar. I feel like the beginning was so good. I loved every second of it. But then like
Same.
we cut to that live action part that just seems out of nowhere, and there's just a ton of other random stuff that's kind of out of nowhere. Like all the Camp Coral flashbacks felt so just awkward and weird. Yeah, I definitely feel very weird about this movie too, because I love the intro, but everything else is like really strange.
I'll get to the Camp Coral thing in a minute.
Yeah.
But I wanted to talk a little bit about like the simplicity of the SpongeBob movie. I will admit, out of all the SpongeBob films of the trilogy, this one is probably the simplest in terms of the plot. Which is saying something because it borrows a lot of elements from... It's pretty much if the first movie and Have You Seen the Snail had like a happy love child.
Mm-hmm.
And honestly, their baby's beautiful.
Yes.
This is one good looking baby.
But, you know, due to the simplistic nature of the movie, I guess it really depends on what you look for in a film. You know, if you don't mind, like, films with, like, simplistic stories, then, you know, this might be up your alley. But if you want something more complex, like, more development, more action, more stakes, then nah, you're not getting it. Personally, I like movies when just characters just just be themselves and have characters just breathe. Breathe and just be themselves. It's doing a bad job articulating this, but it's kind of like my opinion on like the original Winnie the Pooh in that sense, where there's no real story. It's just characters just doing their own thing, and obviously Sponge on the Run has more complexity in the story.
Mm-hmm.
But at the end of the day, it is a lot more focus on the character interactions, and personally, I think it does well. I do like how the characters are resorted, back to their roots.
Great
Seriously,
point.
I felt like
Patrick.
Yeah, we got like a nice Patrick that is kind of like a mentor to SpongeBob sometimes. I love that kind of Patrick. I don't like the mean Patrick that is mean just for the joke of it, like in Sponge Out of Water. I love this like nice like Patrick that really cares for his friend.
Right, and he also has a sort of like different like wit to him, to where like he can be a little more competent at times.
Yeah.
And like all the jokes with Patrick were really great ones.
This might be kind of an unpopular opinion. This might change like when I watch the movie more.
Mm-hmm.
When it's on CBS All Access DVD. I hope it's on DVD. I think SpongeBob and Patrick's dynamic in this movie is actually much stronger than the first one. I can't really say much on Sponge Out of Water since they didn't really interact that much, but
Mm-hmm.
I don't know. I think their interaction in this movie is a lot more closer to home with the show. And don't get me wrong, their connection in the first movie was still really good, very top notch, and it had like a nice message wrapped around it. They're good interactions. But I don't know, I feel like in this movie, both of them have like an equal amount of like maturity, but they also like let loose. And I feel like in the first movie, they were mostly just immature, which is fine. It told the story. But it's nice having that balance between SpongeBob and Patrick. I think it creates kind of a better dynamic.
Right, and it puts them on the same level at times too, which I really liked. When they both like misremembered what happened, they were both like equally like kind of valid.
Yeah.
And yeah, you're right. There's like definitely a bigger emphasis on like their relationship and their friendship, and even just like the animation of like how they interacted with each other. Like in the first movie, it definitely felt like, they were just together and like nothing else needed to be said, it's SpongeBob and goddamn Patrick.
Yeah.
But like there's like a lot of nice little subtleties.
Oh, speaking of interactions and stuff, one thing I appreciate about this movie is that we get a lot more interactions between different characters that we don't normally see in depth. Mainly, the main, kind of the main plot device, Gary the Snail.
Mm-hmm.
I think he was well handled in this film, and I do like, this is actually a step up from the show itself, but I feel like the way SpongeBob and Gary's interact in this movie, it's very simple, but I think it helped establish their bond, and due to that, they sort of give me a reason to care about, like, give me a reason as to why I should care about, SpongeBob trying to rescue Gary. Because, I'm not gonna lie, Gary in the show has always been a mixed bag.
Yeah, I know.
I'm not
exactly
saying
what
he's
you
a
mean.
bad character. It's just
He's usually kind of sassy, He wasn't too like cynical or sassy.
And like it's hard to emphasize their relationship in the show, because it's usually like only for an episode or two he'll be like really into like caring about Gary, but like then there's other stories to tell, then
not to mention the show loves using the miscommunication plot.
Oh yeah.
But
Mm-hmm.
luckily in this movie we don't really have that.
Yeah, in going in, I was so nervous we were gonna get a rehash of Have You Seen Gary episode where it's a miscommunication or like they just get in a fight or something. Like I didn't want SpongeBob and Gary to like have any like discourse with each other because I always hated seeing that. They're supposed to be buddies.
Yeah, exactly. And I think with the beginning of like, you know, establishing SpongeBob and Gary's friendship through like the montage with the, I think the song was by Weezer.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I do like that montage.
Yeah, I think it does like a great job establishing the bond.
I was like jarred at first, but you know, it wasn't that bad. I didn't think it was that bad. I thought it was pretty good. I think the whole intro to the movie was really good. Cause in the last movie, the second movie, Sponge Out of Water, they had to like have this awkward like scene introducing SpongeBob, which was like super weird because like I feel like everybody knows SpongeBob, but this movie it was so much more natural.
Yeah.
Yeah,
feel...
like, don't get me wrong, it's still... The introduction still has exposition telling us who the characters are, but it does so in a lot more organic way.
Seriously.
You know, instead of just telling us, oh, this is SpongeBob SquarePants, and this is the Krusty Krab. He loves everything. He loves Patrick and Gary, and the chum bucket is stinky poo-poo diaper. Nobody eats there. I'm Antonio Banderas, Puss in Boots.
Oh man, that was
so funny.
I'd love to talk about the intro and we can look at it through here. I love the gag with the realistic fish and then like going with the whole documentary sort of vibe, kind of like invoking the pilot and everything.
Okay, I have a critique about the narration.
Mm-hmm.
You don't have the French narrator.
I know.
You think it'd be perfect for it.
Seriously.
The narrator sounds like someone that works for like National Geographic, but they're doing like an impression of that. It sounds really fake.
It's weird. I hope this isn't just because they're watching it on the UK VPN.
Oh no. In the bad rip I saw, it was there too.
Okay.
Tim Hill does voice the narrator in the intro.
Tim Hill did this?
Yeah, Tim Hill, who
Oh.
directed the movie.
It did kind of sound a little amateurish, honestly.
Right?
Yeah, like, I appreciate what they were trying to do, but I don't know. I personally would have preferred the French narrator, because I just think it's a lot better of a narration voice. Not to mention it can help people hook up to the, you know, movie for, like, nostalgia reasons.
Right?
Yeah. It was definitely a weird way to start the movie, but I wasn't too surprised because the last movie started with like a random ass pirate.
Yeah, it is.
It's a small missed opportunity.
I definitely feel like Sponge Out of Water, after watching that like pretty recently, I had my expectations extremely low. So there's a lot of parts of this movie that just blew me away because I had like the lowest expectations possible. I thought there was a lot of like really clever writing.
Honestly, my expectations were mixed throughout the entire time, like when I was stalking the production of the film.
Mm-hmm.
When I first saw the announcement of it being entirely CG and the Camp Coral thing and the, you know, the celebrity soundtrack, I was just like, God damn it, SpongeBob's going corporate. And then I saw the trailer and I was sold.
Mm-hmm.
But then the more, like, stuff that were leaked through merchandise and stuff, I started to get a little mixed. And now, watching the movie, I'll admit, some of my fears came true. Some of them were vanished.
Mm-hmm.
Right.
They, for example, the animation. When
The
I first
visuals
thought
are
it was
amazing.
gonna be CGI, I thought they were doing it for budget cut reasons. Well, I'm sure that's a reason, but I just thought they're doing that so it would have been like, you know, looked cheaper or took more corners. But no, they really captured the show.
There's so much. Yeah, you can tell they really tried, and they succeeded. It's like so beautiful.
Like, they've studied the show, but they also, I like how they're not afraid to do something different with it. Not all the risks succeeded, but you know, it's little things, like little texture decisions, like SpongeBob's like shoelaces or Sandy's weird textures, Krabs' shell.
Yeah, like Mr. Krabs like really looks like a crab, and like
Patrick looks like clay.
it's and like all of that with like this great snappy and dynamic storyboard animation, and it's like the models are like so exactly like hitting these drawings. It's so satisfying to look at, and like to see them like play with like, okay, well, I gotta make them make this face here and then this face over here, and then like they're just like having fun making it extra smooth because they're manipulating a puppet, and it's beautiful to see.
As a matter of fact, I think they do something. The visuals and the dialogue, I think actually, weirdly enough, I think they do a better job at that than the actual show at the moment. Don't get me wrong, I think the newer seasons are still good, and I can tell the artists are having a lot of fun. There's just a lot of instances where sometimes the visual gags just pick up the entire thing, and without any sort of joke to it. The joke is just meant to be, look at these faces. Which is a shame, because I'm sure if the writing was stronger, a lot of episodes could have been saved. But with this, I like how they shifted it a lot more towards the dialogue, a lot more, like the early seasons, or just SpongeBob as it should be.
Yeah,
Not just first 3 seasons of not SpongeBoomer.
it is a healthier balance. You're right, and like,
and not to mention the visuals add on to the jokes. They don't subtract from it, which is, it's good.
Right.
Speaking of which, the dialogue's really funny. I was not expecting that going in, but there were a lot of genuinely good laughs in this.
Yeah, definitely like lines that were said were just, they made me laugh for sure. I know.
Seriously.
Yeah,
I'll
wow.
come back faster than you can say, why did he cruelly abandon me?
Right, that's like the first one that like, it's just like, it's kind of, SpongeBob is kind of like known for like that snappy humor that's like slightly dark in that kind of way, Oops, I smacked the mic. And real quick on that last point, I just think it had a perfect balance. Like, I think it had like a little hint of like the newer season stuff, but it like had like more of like the older season stuff, and it just like it was just so finely tweaked.
Yeah.
And it's like just a pure concentrated SpongeBob. Very well done. And the dialogue. Yeah, I'm having trouble remembering exact lines, but I just specifically like the lines are making you laugh and not other things. Or like,
A little hyperbole doesn't hurt.
Yeah. That's brilliant. The writing really was refined. It's great to see.
Yeah.
I love one of like the things that made me laugh really hard was Sandy's interaction with Mr. Krabs trying to sell him her machine. There's like so much funny dialogue between them.
Yeah.
Yeah, it was really cool to see Sandy and Mr. Krabs. You don't see him a lot.
But it was kind of weird that she's just like, I don't really think she's known for like making inventions for other people. And
Yeah,
just giving it to
well-
Mr. Krabs. That was so weird.
it was a little weird, but
It might have been brought up. Honestly, I forgot. The closest thing I could think to that is, I know there was the episode called Sandy's Nutmare where, she sold nut butter to, to a bunch of townsfish. So she has used generosity to, with like her creating stuff.
That's interesting.
But
Well,
I
wanna
do
talk
like their
about-
interaction.
yeah, I liked it too.
Speaking of the interaction between Crab and Sandy,
Mhm.
again, this might be an unpopular opinion, but probably not. But I think this movie has the best use of the side characters of like Squidward, Mr. Krabs, and Sandy.
yeah, I'm
Because
glad
really
they
think
bounced
about
it.
In the first movie, Krabs was frozen, Squidward gets into a trap, and Sandy only says, "I pay 10."
I
He's
paid
run down the
10.
water. Sure, they have a focus, but they were mostly just being ravenous and like, this weird Mad Max apocalypse.
Mhm.
And sure, some characters do get their like moments to shine, but I don't know. I feel like in this movie, I like how all three of them like interact with one another and how they were able to like just stand out on their own as characters and not just a way to push the story along.
Yeah, I agree. They
Yeah.
actually help, and they interact with one another. It was really great to see Sandy in between Squidward and Mr. Krabs. It's a really cool dynamic, and
Mhm.
all three of them, like their characterization it's all really top notch, and yeah. Sorry, you were gonna say, Drew?
I was kind of just agreeing. Like, Sponge Out of Water, having all of them together, like, felt so forced. They literally told the background characters to leave the scene as a joke for the movie. And it just felt so forced to have all of them there, and like they didn't really do anything. But in this movie, they all feel like really fleshed out, like you said.
Yeah.
And I feel like they're all serving a purpose and not just like moving the plot along.
And it cut back to them, and their plot at like good equal times. It was like very balanced in that way.
Mm-hmm.
So to change subject for a little bit, what do you guys think of the new elements added to Sponge Out around like the celebrities and
Yeah, I wanted
King
to talk
Poseidon?
about. Let's talk about the. Or I guess should we do a spoiler?
Gary died.
Oh, I was wondering if we should like give sort of like a final thoughts as to just the movie as a whole before we get into the spoilers. So the
Okay,
people
we can go
watching
one
it
by
from the
one.
spoiler free would like feel satisfied.
Yeah, good
Not
idea.
watching until the end or like ranking all the movies.
That's a great idea.
You go first, Seb.
Again, I'm still very on and off on the rating right now. I'm gonna have to watch the movie a few times in order to like fully analyze it.
Mm-hmm.
But right now, I'll probably give it like 7 out of 10, 6.5. Maybe right now it's leaning towards the 7 side.
Mhm.
So pretty much how I rank all the movies. I don't think any of the SpongeBob movies have really risen up above a 7.
Mhm.
And that's not me just being like a snob or anything. That's just,
Just how you feel.
yes. The SpongeBob movies always have a good amount of flaws in them, but that doesn't mean they're bad movies. They're just not perfect films.
Yeah.
But, hey, if they're But hey, nothing's perfect.
Yeah.
And I guess in terms of like the ranking of the trilogy, for right now I'd put the first movie at number 1, and I'm still on and off between Sponge Out of Water and On the Run. I need to analyze them a lot more.
Yeah, I mean, we gotta let this movie sink in more, for sure.
Like, there's a lot of things I like Sponge Out of Water a lot more for.
Mm-hmm.
But I also prefer Sponge Out of Run for a lot of different things.
Mm-hmm.
It's weird, but for right now, I'm gonna say Sponge on the Run for number 2 and Sponge Out of Water for number 3. In terms of my ranking, this might change, this might not. I don't know, maybe I'll do another comparison video eventually. Hint, hint.
It's a close call, though, huh?
It is a very close call. I always have a hard time ranking these SpongeBob movies, even when there is a third competitor.
Mm-hmm.
I thought this would have been the tiebreaker.
Right?
Alright, Scuff, what are your spoiler-free final thoughts?
Yeah, I'm gonna have to sit on this movie some more, but it was still a really fun ride, and like, wow, you just can't I can't really describe just like how perfect, like, just seeing the visuals were, like, I know visuals aren't everything, but just like, as an animator, I'm just like, still in awe, just goddamn, it's like, it doesn't need to be doing much. If it like looks that good, it's like, oh my god.
I'm an animator too. We're all animators.
Yeah.
Check out our project, The Cringe Bench Chronicles, coming soon. Shameless plug. Trailer at the end.
Perfect.
Only on
segue.
CBS All Access.
Yes. Let's see. Maybe comparing it to the other movies will be an easier way to explain my thoughts. Since this first SpongeBob movie is like my favorite movie of all time, like, I have a hard time not like holding that to like a super high regard. I do see how it also has like story flaws, and like it is like, you know, when you look at the big picture, like, SpongeBob's not really about story. It's about like a fun, wacky adventure, you know, with like a lot of laughs. And I think
a lot of ha-has.
I think this movie is really good. It feels slightly weird with the corporate stuff. Like, it does feel like it got a little Hollywooded, you know. It's got, you know, like it's got the Camp Coral reboot stuff in it. It's got a kind of too many celebrities. Like, the other movies kind of mask the celebrities a little bit better. Even Sponge Out of Water, probably, or maybe I'm just used to it. But there was like quite a handful of celebrities, like Keanu. Oh, I'm going like way too deep into this. I need to like
watch the movies and check out the spoilers.
But to rank it, I definitely have to go first movie, then this movie, then Sponge Out of Water. I like this one a decent amount more than Sponge Out of Water. It seemed slightly more focused, just because the story was so simple, and Sponge Out of Water just really offended me at the end with that rap battle, and like, there's nothing like that in this movie that was that to that extent.
Where have you moved to hear from you?
Seriously. It's really hard to get my thoughts on the movie like in such a short way, but I did really like it. But the story, I'm kind of surprised that the story wasn't more straightforward with, like, you know, I'm a little surprised it still went all over the place with how simple the story was. I guess.
Yeah.
I guess I'll end it there and let you go on, Drew.
I feel so similar to how you feel. I love the beginning so much. I was like, oh man, this is gonna be good. But then a certain scene happens pretty soon after the beginning, and then it just goes hog wild, and it's like, it gets pretty bad after that. I do think the visuals are like maybe worth it enough to watch it if you like SpongeBob, but yeah, they like went really crazy with this story in this one. Like, it's like it's like a slightly more focused Sponge Out of Water. But yeah, I feel similar to how Scuff felt. And I would definitely rank the first SpongeBob movie. I feel like it's really, really good. Even like watching it recently, I still loved every bit of it. So I definitely think that's the better film. But I would say this is second best out of the SpongeBob trilogy. It still has a lot of like great jokes.
Holy shit, all of us have the same rankings.
I know. I'm not surprised. I mean,
makes sense.
Yeah. I don't know. It does make sense.
Though you do bring up a good point with the visuals.
Seriously.
Because
it's
going in this, my first thoughts were, look, if the movie isn't good, I can at least recommend it on a visual standpoint.
Mm-hmm.
If you just want some eye candy, and if you like, if you just want some eye candy, then here you go. Just put on this movie.
Seriously, this might be the best SpongeBob's ever been animated.
Yeah, honestly, yeah. Like, I'm a huge fan of 2D, but like, man, if they don't do a good job at like making this like, it's like, how could you get better than this? It's like 2D and 3D together, and it's like,
yeah, it's very
it has
stylized.
everything. You don't even like
don't get me wrong. I personally don't think there's no artistic reason as to why SpongeBob is 3D here. In Sponge Out of Water, the CGI had more of a reason to it, For those live action parts, look more realistic. Here, it feels like they just did it because, well, everyone else is doing it.
Mm-hmm.
But that doesn't mean it's, like, less good. Because this is still a very gorgeous film. And I'm happy that they didn't use the CGI element. Not to diss on CGI. I love it.
no.
It's a good medium. But I'm grateful that they experimented with this movie instead of going the easy way and just, okay, here's SpongeBob. Let's just move him. Bam, Illumination, SpongeBob SquarePants.
That's a great point, because I am kind of sad to see, like you've mentioned this point before, through the 3 movies, SpongeBob transitions completely 2D to completely CG, and it's kind of showing of just like animated movies in general, and it is sad how nothing can be 2D nowadays, but if SpongeBob had to go CG, it couldn't have gone in a better way. Like, it really keeps its 2D energy, and I really love that.
Not to mention, I think another thing that helps with covering up this fact is that all the movies look different visually. Every single one.
Mm-hmm.
They really do, especially since we rewatched all the movies together. It is pretty cool how they all have a distinct style.
Yeah,
Right?
the consistency with the animation is that it's inconsistent. And I'm sure if you're like watching them all the way, like, it might be a little jarring, but I don't know. Since SpongeBob really has little to no continuity. It makes sense.
Yeah, SpongeBob's one of those evergreen franchises that they'll just reboot it into infinity because there is no overarching
wonder.
story.
Not to
They
mention,
can just do whatever they want with them.
I give all the movies like props for not just taking the show and putting out the big screen.
Yeah.
They do a lot of extra to make it cinematic.
Mm-hmm.
They really do. In all three of the movies, it probably gets more intensive each movie. Really, more detail into the thought of the backgrounds and the world and everything.
Okay,
It
let's
really
talk
feels
spoilers.
lived in. Yeah, spoiler time, baby.
Gary dies.
Gary time.
And they bring him back to life. Alright, guys.
SpongeBob
What did
brought
you-
Gary back through the magic of friendship. And Camp Coral. Watch it on CBS All Access.
Yeah, the movie ends on a cliffhanger. We have to watch all of Camp Coral
Yeah.
to know what happens. Only on CBS.
This entire movie was an advertisement for Camp Coral.
That's not even a lie.
Anyway,
Yeah,
what do you guys
so
think of the
I want to talk
celebrities?
about the.
Oh yeah, celebrities. We didn't get
Let's
to the
talk about-
celebs.
Oh yeah, the celebrities.
The celebrities.
I wasn't really a fan of Sage.
Me
What's his
neither.
name?
Keanu Reeves.
Yeah, it wasn't like funny, and he wasn't really a cool character, and he was there for a lot of the movie, and it was really jarring, and
was there
it's
for
so
too
weird.
He was there for too much of it.
And like
Full
also just the entire dream sequence is really confusing. What are your guys' thoughts on that?
Yes.
They should have just had him in the flashback and gotten rid of him.
Yeah, or just have like one or two little, like, maybe just that one first reminder. He's just like, bro.
Like, don't get me wrong, I know why he's here. Keanu Reeves is a sexy guy, and they gotta include him in some way. But I don't know, I'm sure they could have had him in a different role. I don't know, have him be Poseidon.
Yeah.
Or,
Yeah.
I don't know, have... Maybe
What? I don't
he's
even
working
understand.
aside El Diablo. I don't know, he doesn't have... I don't know, he could have had a more significant role in, like, the dream sequence or something.
Seriously.
Not to mention his inclusion outside of the dream sequences doesn't make any sense. How is he here? How is he in the boat? Like, I know this is SpongeBob. There's like no logic to anything, but come on, like how did he have the coin?
It's like,
How is Reeves
It doesn't-
here?
I'm all for weird, surreal fourth wall breaking,
I'm
but
all for
like
nautical
it's
nonsense.
yeah, I'm all for nautical nonsense, but like that you can't like show seams to make it seem like it's like you're being a little lazy and like using him as a plot device, which they definitely didn't hide well enough. Like,
Speaking of the plot device, Keanu Reeves' whole purpose after that is to tell SpongeBob and Patrick how to feel and what to do.
Wow.
When they were like drunk after they were singing Viva la Diva Loca, which is actually a thing, by the way,
yeah.
they were just, Keanu Reeves just tells them with his almighty wisdom, hey, remember, Gary exists.
All their interactions, he's just like a angry mom, like, get off your asses and do something, blah blah.
Right.
He,
I just
he
like
was not a very
SpongeBob.
pleasant character.
I was just
Sid
like
said it was my turn on the Xbox.
I'm just like he's on screen again, like he's doing nothing again, like it's just Keanu Reeves for Keanu Reeves' sake.
Not to mention that falling out scene with SpongeBob and Patrick when they lost the coin. It had
So
Sage
corny.
just showing the thing where it's like, oh, the coin. The courage wasn't the coin. It was in your heart.
Yeah,
I
I
feel
think
like
that
so
was the
many-
scene. I think that was the scene, especially where I'm like, we really don't need this. Like, should not be this big a part of the movie.
Like, come on, let the characters talk for themselves.
Yeah.
Which is a shame because
He's
other
like
than
speaking to
Keanu
the
Reeves,
children.
You know, other than Sage, you know, the characters are the strongest part. So we don't need him. The
Right.
characters could figure stuff out on their own. Stop. No, I wish.
It'd be like
They-
if
they should've
Patchy's
just had
head
it
rolled
like-
in. Did the
Yeah.
same thing.
Like, he just
Seriously.
serves no purpose.
And I just feel like him coming in and telling them like it's all inside you. It's like the corniest, like most like played out
Yeah.
kids movie trope
Yeah.
ever. Seriously, it's in every single kids movie ever made in all of history, and like every time I see it, it just makes me makes me like groan.
It's because you don't have the power inside you, Drew.
I'll always be with you, right here, in my heart, actually in your arteries.
But let's talk about Snoop Dogg. Heyo,
You know,
Snoop Dogg.
I love Snoop Dogg, you know, but bro, his music video just kind of like interrupts the whole movie, and it was like when that was happening, it's just like when things started to fall apart a little bit. Just because that whole dream sequence, I was like, all right, this is gonna be kind of pointless. That's okay, but like, that's all right. But then it kept going on. It's like, it's a really long sequence.
Another unpopular opinion. I like the musical number.
Me too. It was good music. It was.
Like, it serves no purpose to the story, but, you know, it was a good inclusion of Snoop Dogg. And, you know, it
What
is
was
a good
his
song.
reason-
It may not be
What's-
good by, like, it is very out of place in a SpongeBob movie, but I don't know, it just has that nice, like, early 2000s charm to it.
That's a great point. I just felt like if it were, I don't know how you could naturally, if they like made him a fish or something. I don't know how
Yeah,
they
why
could
was-
blend it in more naturally. I'm not
I don't know,
opposed to
since
the
it's a
idea
dream
either.
sequence, it makes sense.
Right.
What made him spawn in the first place? That was really confusing. Like, he just spawns,
Snoop Dogg
sings
has
his
joined the
song, and then
game.
he's like, "All right, SpongeBob, I'll see you later in Camp Coral on CBS All Access Tuesdays at 5. Goodbye." I don't understand what his purpose for that scene was besides just having music and then leaving.
Maybe he was just maybe the Nickelodeon execs were just like, okay, Snoop Dogg, you are a decently big hit. You're all we can afford right now. Can you be in our movie?
And like, the
He just, like-
the zombie dancing part is so weird and feels very like,
It just
I don't know, Hollywoody, like Scuff said. It's like doesn't
Yeah.
have any reason.
like they're just like in real life for no reason for like a good chunk of it.
Are
And
we going to ignore how SpongeBob and Patrick accidentally killed a man?
Oh my God, you're right. This is like the SpongeBob that
They killed El Diablo.
kill people.
And I feel like they knew what they were doing too, which is even more fucked up.
I know. I thought they were doing that on purpose.
Honestly, I couldn't tell if they were doing it intentionally. On one hand, it just seemed like they were just organically talking about the fabric, but at the same time, I can easily see it being sort of like a Bugs Bunny thing, where they were just outsmarting it.
Right.
Yeah.
Well, The bitch
Also-
did laser vision them.
What?
Also,
How did he have
the
laser
minor
vision?
Because it's a dream. None of this matters. Remember?
Oh, you're right. Yeah, never mind.
Also, this
But,
is a
like-
minor nitpick,
Oh.
Uh huh.
but I didn't really like how they kept pointing out that this is a dream.
Yeah.
It really destroyed
Yeah.
the stakes of that scene, and it made it
But
feel
then it
even
was
more
real?
pointless.
Question mark.
Right.
It's
I
like so
agree.
vague, but in the like grand scheme of things, that this whole scene doesn't really do anything for the movie.
But apparently it does matter because Sage's now in the rest of the movie.
Yeah. Oh, so weird.
Also, they make a FaceTime joke.
Yeah.
They make a Skype. They reference Skype. Skype
they
is like
reference Skype and
so old
FaceTime.
at this. I don't think anybody uses Skype seriously anymore.
Did they? Was that in the same breath? Is that
Yeah.
the same part? It's like
He
it's
said
like Skype, not FaceTime
and
or
Skype.
something. Oh.
Yeah.
It's so weird.
Like, don't get me wrong. The show itself does use smartphones now, but it's usually just a small thing, and they don't even reference anything indirectly. It just kind of, in the show, it's just sort of a thing where it's like, okay, cell phones or smartphones are just a part of our culture now, so let's just include them briefly.
I always liked how SpongeBob made attempts to be timeless with not including anything recent, or like at least not like referencing like specific things like Skype or FaceTime.
Yeah, it's a little weird.
So it is
Having
kind
them,
of jarring. in this
It's
one.
like it's just like
reference.
no. I don't think any kids movie is like safe from that sort of thing.
Not anymore, at least. Thank you, Scoob.
Oh my god.
like
Oh my god, that was bad.
But yeah, not only do they reference FaceTime, they also reference the Blue Man Group.
Well, yeah, like what kind of reference is that? It's such
It's
a
the
Viva
Blowfish
La-
Group.
Viva Loca. And you know, it's ironic how they reference the Blue Man Group in a Nickelodeon movie, because that's what replaced the the Nickelodeon studios at Universal.
Ooh,
That's hilarious.
burn.
They must be salty because they exploded them in the movie. I love this fucking. Oops, sorry. Can I say that? This demon. We're gonna have to dolphin that one out. This this demon smoke after they murder the man, because he's like a vampire. Apparently,
it was like kind of legit creepy.
that was cool.
Yeah. It looks like a cough. It looks like a cough drop commercial.
Yeah.
It's so funny. What did you guys think of Poseidon?
His voice is distracting.
Yeah.
He is literally
is.
just Bubbles, the Illuminati dolphin voice rise.
I don't
And
understand
that was so
why
distracting.
they couldn't get another voice actor to play a major role in this movie. Like this would have been a perfect celebrity
Right.
Oh,
to
here's a
be
fun-
Poseidon instead of just having the celebrities as Sage.
Oh, here's a fun behind the scenes fact. I saw some concept art of what Poseidon and what, you know, Atlantic City was originally going to look like. It had more of a you know, Greek mythology sort of thing, but Poseidon was originally live action, and he was played by Will Ferrell.
Oh
my gosh.
wow.
I'm glad that we didn't get it.
That
live
sounds
action,
a
more
little
live
too
action.
much. I love Will Ferrell, but
Wow. Well, I'm
What?
glad. I appreciate. I like Poseidon now.
yeah.
I
The
just-
Bubbles voice is super distracting. I did kind of I was kind of able to get over it because the range was a little different and like the character was pretty different, and like
Yeah.
when he had different emotions I was like able to believe it more. But yeah, definitely a lot for the beginning. It's like, bro, that's Bubbles. That's Bubbles.
Not to mention, both characters are higher powers
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
and have tail fins.
Mm-hmm.
And
are in
a part
SpongeBob
of the-
movies.
Yeah, are in SpongeBob movies.
And
They're
they
both
both-
underwater.
And they both have a moment at the end. They both have a moment where they're like, actually, that was a good thing. I'm very happy about that.
I wanted to quit my job, but I was too afraid to go for it.
God, I hate that part in Sponge Out of Water. It's so silly.
They do the same thing here.
Oh, also Poseidon's a part of the Illuminati. But wasn't there like an Illuminati eye somewhere in Atlantic City?
Oh yeah.
Yeah,
That's
there-
a stretch, but
Yeah, there
the
was.
comparison's there, I guess. I don't fucking know. I'm trying to be funny here.
The connection is there. I think he's in cahoots with the Illuminati and Bubbles for sure.
I thought it was really strange that his whole kingdom is like one big casino. That was a weird choice.
It's just like, yeah, it is
It
weird
was.
because like, you know,
I
like
like it.
it's SpongeBob gambling and stuff. Like it's funny and stuff, but it's like kind of weird because like it's like a kids movie, and it's
Yeah,
like I don't know, and like I'm an adult, I don't know, and gambling is just like such a weird different thing, or like casinos and stuff. I don't know.
yeah. It seems like
I
a
don't mind it.
like a decision from like an executive or something. Like, oh, I like casinos and gambling. Let's put that in the SpongeBob movie. That's gonna make all my rich white friends laugh real hard. I don't know. That's kind of what I got out of it. It doesn't seem very fitting for like a kids movie.
Right, they didn't really.
I'm gonna be honest. I don't mind the casino stuff because I don't know. I like the aesthetic they go for, and you know, I don't mind adult humor in SpongeBob. I don't think any kid's gonna get into gambling because of this movie.
Yeah,
You know,
for
to me,
sure. I
the
don't think
gambling
anyone will.
stuff in this movie is kind of like the ice cream scene in the first movie.
Yeah.
You know, when you're older, but you know, as a kid, you might not get it. You know, you might not understand why they're going crazy or why they're emptying their wallets for these coins.
Plastic
But
coins,
as
yeah.
an adult, you're just like, oh, I get it. They're gambling.
I thought it was funny that.
Sorry.
No, you go first. I
Not to
interrupted.
mention, I love the transition of just SpongeBob becoming drunk in the first movie and then becoming a gambler. That's cool.
That is really funny.
In the 5th movie, he's gonna be a drug dealer.
The, Spon-
You're so right.
the SpongeBob
Um,
movie.
This is the SpongeBob movie.
The one joke I liked out of the casino scene was how they kept winning, and then they got like an entourage, and they're like all hanging out with them, and it was interesting how they did the Viva Loca music, because I associate that so much with Shrek. Hearing that in this.
Oh yeah, my mom was watching Shrek earlier today.
I feel mixed about that. About the song inclusion. I probably wouldn't be as mixed about it if it wasn't for the fact that SpongeBob and Patrick sing it.
Yeah, they're singing it.
Like,
Mm-hmm.
here's the thing about the pop culture references in this movie as a whole and the pop songs.
Mm-hmm.
I appreciate, outside of a few exceptions, they don't really reference anything modern. Nothing that would 100% date the movie.
Yeah.
You know,
Mhm.
they only reference FaceTime and Skype once, and that's the end of the social media jokes. Sure, they have pop songs, but it's nothing from this generation. They're
Mhm.
not playing new rules or something.
I do, yeah.
Senorita.
I do appreciate that it's older tunes. And
Yeah,
Snoop
due to
Dogg
that,
is
It
like
does help with
90s.
this film at being more timeless, even if it does include more pop music.
Mhm.
Hell, Take On Me has probably been in a lot of movies.
It has. What do you think about the pop culture licensed music stuff?
I feel like it wasn't too disrupting. I do really like the picks. Maybe a little. I'm not sure if it's too frequent or not, because if they had less, then the ones they did would kind of stick out more. But like, I'm glad they kind of kept them short for the most part.
I agree.
Mm-hmm.
And yeah, short, pretty good picks. Better picks than Sponge Out of Water.
Did that have any licensed music like that?
No.
Oh, I'm tripping then.
I think the closest thing to pop music we have is "Squeeze Me."
Oh yeah, I
That
guess.
entire line in the songs, it's like Patrick Starr and Sandy Squirrel.
Sandy Squirrel.
Sorry, Mr. Crab. I know the daughter you have.
Yeah, it.
Fucking hate that
At least we
song.
didn't get the original music wasn't as bad as that. As the second movie
Yeah.
credits.
As much as I love Sponge Out of Water, I just hate that song.
Seriously.
It felt like they had no research into it.
They didn't even get Sandy's name right.
Okay, so we don't rip on Sandy Squirrel for the rest of the movie. Here's a doozy.
Did you have any final thoughts about the licensed music, Drew?
I'm like kind of mixed on it too. I didn't really like Viva Loca, cause it's like, I guess cause I associate it with Shrek, and also it's just so old, and I don't feel like it's as timeless. I don't know. I don't think I really like the licensed music. I like the first song that they played. It was like a montage of SpongeBob and Gary. But I don't know. I don't know if
Was
I
that
really
one-
liked any of the other-
Was that one licensed?
I think that wasn't licensed.
That was made for the movie, actually. I think. Drew.
Yeah, one of the lyrics was "It's always summer in Bikini Bottom," so
I liked
it was made for the
that
movie.
song.
Yeah, that song. Yeah, that song's growing on me.
Same. I always loved this song, even when I saw the sneak peek. It just gives off that nice 2000s feeling, and
Mhm.
that's kind of a feeling I get through this entire movie. It does feel very early 2000s.
They definitely watched a lot of SpongeBob as research for this.
Oh yeah, I
Tell
love.
me about it.
I kind of like the visual references. It seems like they created like exact shots or stills from the show at times.
They flat out use Plankton stock art.
Yeah, that too. They use like stock art too. They like recreate it in CG.
So I hope you guys like that one Gary stock art of him with that teethy grin. The one you see on almost every piece of SpongeBob thing.
They're making it canon, guys.
It's in a good majority of the movie. Whenever they need an image of Gary the Snail, they just use that.
You see him smiling on the products. Now he's smiling in the movie.
Yes. Well, to be fair, that face has always been canon. It did originate from Gary's Takes a Bath.
Oh yeah.
It's just weird seeing
he
it
just
that
rarely.
frequent.
He just rarely does it. Yeah. What were you gonna say earlier, Seb? Before.
Now that we're done with the segue to the pop songs, here's a doozy. What do you guys think of the Camp Coral elements?
For me, that was like
Choose wisely.
kind of the.
Choose
There you
wisely. If we say the wrong things, the comments section are gonna murder us.
Oh no! How so?
Dun dun.
Obviously, we get canceled. Pitchforks, torches, cotton candy.
Is there
Cotton
a lot
candy
of
doesn't
people
sound
that
too
like
bad,
Camp
but
Coral?
there's bugs in it.
You got some big Camp Coral fans.
I was actually thinking the opposite.
Oh, okay. Okay, yeah, that's what I thought. Okay.
Yeah,
First-
that's good.
Yeah, I don't know why I was assuming the other way. I
For
just don't want to
me-
hurt anybody's feelings, but. It's Scott from the future to issue a quick little apology here. You may hear a little bit of a weird noise in the background because I was blowing some SpongeBob brand bubbles while we were recording, and I didn't really realize they would pick up. It's gonna sound a little like this, and this is what it looks like. I was blowing some bubbles. Sab can attest to that. Yeah, terribly sorry if that noise bothers you a little bit. I do stop at one point, and then the sound doesn't come back. So you have that to look forward to. Hope you're enjoying the discussion so far, guys.
Yeah, as you were
Yeah.
saying.
For me, the Camp Coral scenes were like really they were like cute, you know. I love Patrick as a baby; he was adorable. But it felt so soulless and forced, and I really didn't like those parts. Yeah, they did not feel organic at all. It was like, all right, let's stop the movie and talk about this our great time as babies where we all originally met.
Let's talk. All right, I know we're at the climax of the movie, but quickly, let's do a rushed reboot version of When I Met You.
And yeah, it bothers me like with the continuity of SpongeBob. I know it's not serious, but like it bothers me so much that like there's episodes where they meet Sandy and like, you know, SpongeBob meets Mr. Krabs, but they're trying to rewrite it all. It's like really gross feeling.
I just like refuse to like that. I don't like watching it, especially the part with Sandy, which was like, when I met SpongeBob. It's just like, no, I refuse to believe this. This isn't happening. I'm blocking this part of the movie out.
Like, I feel like SpongeBob and Patrick meeting at camp makes sense, but everyone else, it's like so weird. My brain, like Scuff said, can't accept it. What about you, Zab?
Don't get me wrong. The concept of Camp Coral isn't terrible. Sure, it's not fully original, but I can accept it. It's a neat idea, and you know, I do like how we finally get an answer to how, you know, SpongeBob, Patrick, and Squidward met. Because that was something I always wanted when I was a kid.
Mm-hmm.
My only real issue is with Sandy. Well, that's the main issue.
Seriously.
Because, well, first off, out of all the segments, hers was the worst handled. It felt very on the nose compared to, like, the one she had the tree dome. Especially the one where she's like, oh, it's not like I can live down here in a tree dome. Get it? It's funny because tree dome, she lives in one and now she's a scientist. Isn't that clever?
Yeah, that confused me a lot, because, like, how did she get her suit? And why is she in the ocean? And she's from Texas. Where's Texas? What's going
where
on?
is Texas? Like, did her parents just like...
Does she swim from
sink in
Texas
anger
to
and
this
just
random
drag her
part of
into-
the ocean every day?
We have to watch Camp Coral on CBS All Access to find out.
Also, Krabs' flashback, completely rushed.
Oh my god.
I had
The
no
definition
emotional
of rush.
connection to it whatsoever.
They like phased in and out of it within like 10 seconds.
All SpongeBob says was just, you can have your own restaurant one day, and just left it at that.
I kind of see what they were going for. Like, they were kind of trying to maybe have a moment where Mr. Krabs is trying to be selfless and like, it's not about me, it's all about him. But like, they needed a few more seconds on that flashback, dude. The editing was disorienting.
Also, a thought just occurred to me. That whole sequence would have still worked, in my opinion, if they recreated moments from the first episode.
Oh, bro, I would love that so much.
You know, if they did like a CGI recreation, of
That'd
the
make me
scene
cry.
where, like, you know, SpongeBob was getting the job at the Krusty Krab, and when SpongeBob and Sandy were fighting the clam, not only would it have something extra for the fans who watched the show through its entirety, but it would have been, you know, a good introduction to the younger audience.
Yeah.
And it would have benefited the story. It still would have.
It would have
You
really
know,
tugged at her heartstrings.
maybe in Sandy's case, maybe when SpongeBob and her like wrestled the clam, maybe that was meaningful to her because, you know, SpongeBob risked his life for Sandy. Or maybe it's more simple. Maybe it's because, you know, he was one of the first sea creatures that Sandy's ever met that took interest in her lifestyle.
Yeah. Yeah, oh my gosh. That would have, like, really bumped up the movie if they had done that. Wow.
It's making me so sad. Like, I really
I
would
want that
have
version.
wanted to see
Let's
that.
edit that version in.
And
Fan
therefore,
animate it.
I'll provide the CGI.
So good.
Even though I like the Patrick origin, it's very sweet and wholesome, and I do admit Patrick's design is a lot better in motion than his stills. And Squidward's flashback was okay. You know? It was sweet. It was a little rushed at points, but
Yeah.
He was kind of being a brat.
come on, it's Squidward. It makes sense.
I like how it was kind of a parallel to the first movie with SpongeBob getting the manager thing.
However, this is kind of a minor thing, but pretty much those flashbacks showcased that SpongeBob was 100% responsible for why the characters are how they are. SpongeBob was the reason for Sandy's love of science. He was the reason why Squidward plays the clarinet. He's the reason why the Krusty Krab's successful.
I am the catalyst for all good in the world.
He's the reason, according to this fucking movie, as to why Plankton always fails at stealing the formula. Even though there's multiple instances in the series itself where Krabs was just as responsible. Hell, Squidward was responsible for some of them. And yes, SpongeBob was responsible for some of the blunders, but not all of them. So having Karen at the beginning being like, it's not Krabs, it's SpongeBob, complete bullshit.
Yeah.
Like, I get what they were trying to do. I know that they were trying to, like, you know, show why SpongeBob means a lot to his friends, and I appreciate that. You know, that whole trial scene was very sweet. I just wish it wasn't so, like, blatant, and, like, I wish it wasn't, like, you know, made up to be like, oh, SpongeBob is God. Basically.
Right,
He's
the key to it all. He is the secret formula.
Like, by that logic, like, is he the reason why Mermaid Man and Barnacle Boy teamed up?
He's the prophecy.
Did he create Bikini Bottom?
Right?
Is he the reason why Mrs. Puff became a boating instructor? Is he the reason why the Duck can steal souls?
Probably.
Oh my god. This is an intense SpongeBob theory.
That's a great point, though.
We'll probably know by SpongeBob 4.
Not to mention, the secret formula is finally revealed. We now know the secret to the formula is you.
That scene was so weird. I thought it was so weird seeing them all have a synchronized dance.
Yeah.
I like to think they practiced it in the paddy wagon on the way.
They did?
That's what I like to think.
Oh.
That makes sense.
Yeah.
I'm gonna be honest, I thought the scene was good. It's a good song. Out of all the songs in the movie, that felt the most SpongeBob.
Yeah, it was cute how the characters sung it.
Yeah, and sure, it's weirdly synchronized, but it's a cartoon.
Yeah, it was like they were on stage. I kind of like that song. It was really cute and sweet.
Not to mention, like, I know some people who watch, like, the Cam Rip or the Canadian exclusive. I know some people were like, you know,
That's illegal. No, just kidding.
I know some people were thinking that that whole song was literal, which
Oh, like
SpongeBob
SpongeBob puts a
piece
little bit of himself in each patty.
either that or like there's no secret formula. SpongeBob is just the formula. Like, if you open up the bottle, the only thing inside of it is just SpongeBob.
A picture of SpongeBob.
Yes, just like in the montage.
Yeah. I'm not sure if if that's what I want to believe.
I don't want to believe it. It loses all the suspense of the series.
Right. It's kind of
Yeah.
funny. It's kind of like the Plankton one. Plankton?
Yeah. I think like the way the song is arranged, it's obvious that it is a metaphor and that, you know, the secret to the formula is not.
Well, I feel like it kind of is, because, like, nobody can make Krabby Patties like SpongeBob, in a way,
Maybe
you know?
Jim.
Oh, yeah. Can't forget
But
that.
let's
Did they
forget
reference
about
him?
No, they.
Or what did, oh, yeah, Squidward was just recalling what SpongeBob said when he was trying to do the patties. What a good gag.
Yeah.
I thought that was so cute. There's a lot. I felt like all the characters were really sweet in this movie. They weren't being like cynical for no reason.
Yeah, oh my gosh, good point.
Yeah, I agree. The character interactions are really wholesome, especially Squidward's. I loved it. A part of me, like, even though I think, despite the Rush Camp Coral flashbacks, I think Mr. Krabs' speech in the trial was probably the most impactful. I think it's just because of how rough and gruff he is in this movie. I do like how they bring him back to his rough roots. So seeing him like showing his sweet side at the end, it felt very, you know, earned. It makes I liked how we got a return of that side where, you know, Krabs genuinely does care about SpongeBob and, you know, doesn't just keep him around just for the sake of a profit.
Yeah,
It
that was
feels like
really
weirdly
sweet.
refreshing.
Not to mention, this is pretty revolutionary for the SpongeBob universe. Squidward has finally admitted that SpongeBob's a friend.
Seriously, I love that scene. I love Squidward's speech and how he ends it like that.
Seriously, that was
I needed
really,
to
really
see
good.
that. I'm gonna sleep good tonight because I saw that.
Squidward says freak.
Freaking-
freaking.
Yeah, I love how he delivered that speech. Yeah, it was
Yeah.
like so sweet. Like he was being
He's like
so
ice cream with salt.
nice. We've never seen him like have like that kind of tone in this show. I don't think where he's like, but I still really like you or something like that.
I also like
there's a lot of moments.
I like SpongeBob's expression shifting too, and he's like, when Squidward's like, I like you, but I hate you. Or something, he says something like that. Cause like, whenever Squidward does that, like, SpongeBob doesn't usually like react, but like this time he like got sad.
Wait a minute. We completely forgot about another Camp Coral flashback.
The first one?
Yeah, in the beginning of the movie, well, their first instance of Camp Coral, where
Yeah.
SpongeBob met Gary,
I think that was kind of the best handled one.
I full-heartedly agree.
I was
think-
like,
Sorry,
oh, you
Drew.
go first.
I
was like, oh man, is this all the Camp Coral we're gonna get? Woo! It's gonna be a good movie.
I don't know what it was about it, but like it was like the music and like the voice filters and everything, but like it did kind of have me have like, you know, it gave me some feels, bro. And yeah, it was really cute, and like if they had to if they had to have like a scene with like young SpongeBob meeting Gary, like that makes sense, you know. And
Yeah,
like,
totally.
I think they did as good. They did a really good job. I think that was a cute little scene.
It's
for
very
sure.
wholesome. I love like the music choice and the animation.
Yeah, if Camp Coral wasn't gonna be a miniseries, like there would be. If I didn't feel a little bit like that was like, you know, advertising a miniseries, like there wouldn't really be much wrong with it at all. it's great.
Yeah.
What did you guys think of the voice actors for Baby SpongeBob and Baby Sandy and all those guys?
I like Baby SpongeBob's VA. I'm not gonna lie.
Mm-hmm.
I know a lot of people would have preferred Tom Kenny, but
I'm
I
kind of
don't-
glad they didn't do that,
same.
because like it would have been so obvious that it's just Tom Kenny doing like a little kid voice.
Right.
Don't get me wrong. In the series, he did pull off a good child SpongeBob voice every now and again.
Mm-hmm.
But I feel like in terms of like, you know, for a movie, it does make sense for the child, you know, for SpongeBob and the rest of the gang to be voiced by actual kids.
Mm-hmm.
I'm kind of shocked they didn't do that for the series. Because they have the original VAs for that.
Oh,
That-
really?
that is
Yeah,
interesting.
especially when it's a mini-series. Doesn't that give like more reason to keep the child VA since you don't have to worry about them aging?
Right.
Yeah. Wow,
Um,
that surprises me. I thought they would kind of have the same or similar voice actors for the show.
Yeah, same. But then again, the designs for Camp Coral in the series and movie are a lot different.
Yeah, that's gonna be real interesting to see. Yeah, there's apparently a lot of differences. Yeah, the voices. I'm a little. I guess they're okay. I don't know. A weird part of me is just like. I'm glad you mentioned that the VAs are coming back for the show, cause I mean, yeah, I'm not sure how to feel about that either, cause like. The voices feel weird here because it's like I feel like they're being used for the show even though they're not, and it's like hitting me that like SpongeBob is actually getting like this like weird reboot, and it's just like it's weird to see. I don't know, just to see the characters portrayed like that. I'm just still not used to it, but I think the kids definitely did a great job, and
Yeah.
yeah, it's not bad. Probably a good call. Yeah.
This is something I keep forgetting. For whatever reason, Plankton doesn't have a flashback sequence. Or is even in flashbacks.
I
Yeah.
know.
But
I was
despite
expect
that,
when
he's
he.
in the merchandise. We have plushes of Baby Plankton. He's in the
No.
books.
I have a
Wait.
big eyeball. And
Do you remember
everything.
what he did in the books?
I think he was just trying to
Mischievous
steal
things.
the formula or something like that. Oh no, I need to
I'm
look at the
stealing
books
the
again.
Krabby Patty secret formula.
I was totally
But-
expecting like when they cut to Plankton after they all gave their speeches. I was like so like expecting him to give his own little Camp Coral speech.
We ran
But,
out of time.
yeah, I guess
Did
they
you
must
see
have cut it.
crabs?
SpongeBob helped me.
We don't have any goddamn time for my stupid ass flashback.
SpongeBob helped me. My long lost goal of trying to steal the formula.
You told me I could
used to
do
be a
whatever
good
I
citizen.
believed.
Sorry, what?
I used to be a good citizen, and then SpongeBob turned me evil. I hate that guy.
But yeah, speaking of the books actually had a lot more to it than in the movie.
I find that so interesting because I know the original SpongeBob movie, the chapter book had a lot of cut content, or at least like changed content from the actual release.
And I'm gonna be completely honest, I liked how the books handled it a lot more than in the movie itself. Because
Ooh.
first off, we get to see more Camp Coral, which,
Mhm.
depending on, I know a lot of people would hate that, but personally, I think it would have done a better job setting up Camp Coral at the beginning instead of the end, because one, it wouldn't feel as much of a cash grab. Because just having it at the end, having Sandy being like, SpongeBob is a good friend. Now watch Camp Coral on CBS All Access.
Yeah, I
if it
probably
was at
would
the
be more
beginning-
okay with the Camp Coral stuff if it was better integrated.
Yeah.
But yeah, if it was at the beginning, not only would we have more time to like get to know these characters, but we could have characters tie back to that beginning sequence for the trial, and have like a tiny flashback, because we already saw the beginning sequence. So having it at the end, where again as like a flashback, or just having it be briefly mentioned, would have still done the scene justice. Because now that we've seen them through the journey, now we have more of an emotional connection to the scenes. Not to
Right.
mention, the Camp Coral sequences has more motivation to a lot of the characters. First off, there was a scene where SpongeBob was like, instead of him getting dropped off on a bus, SpongeBob's parents actually dropped him off. But-
Oh, that's cool. That's cute.
But near the same scene, Squidward was also dropped off, and his mother in this movie was like, she was just on the phone. She's very busy. And-
Neglectful, and that's why he's that way. It's so sad.
I
Yeah.
just want to make my mama happy.
Yeah, and I feel like if we saw that, and the whole clarinet scene would have been more emotionally impactful, because we know why Squidward wanted to play the clarinet.
Bro,
And
That's
it would have been very
insane.
sweet.
You actually right about that.
Also,
that's insane.
this is kind of a minor thing. We also get to see more interaction between SpongeBob and Patrick. And since their friendship are the most meaningful in the show, it would have been cool to see their interaction. Like, don't get me wrong. Having them just Jellyfish and Jellyfish Field was just as impactful. But, I don't know. Just having that little extra would still be a little cool.
Yeah.
Seriously.
I bet you there's a version of the script, or a draft of the story where the Camp Coral stuff was early in the beginning, but I think they moved things around a lot.
Not to mention, I remember SpongeBob had like a little line of dialogue when talking to Patrick where he said something like, "Everything goes better with friends,"
Aww.
which is really sweet. And I'm surprised they didn't keep that line, because it would have been a good promotional quote or something for SpongeBob for advertising.
Yeah. What were you gonna say, Drew?
Oh, I was just gonna say that, yeah, I feel like if we had to kind of remake this movie to be a little better, making the Camp Coral stuff have a purpose, or giving Squidward motivation to wanting to win that award, or pretty much just fixing all the Camp Coral stuff would have added so much more to the movie.
They should have
Not
made
have
it a little
felt
bit
so
longer and
weird.
spent a little longer on those.
Agreed. Especially since the movie is pretty short.
Yeah.
It's only an hour and 30 minutes.
Yeah, this
Get it.
podcast, this discussion video is almost longer than it.
Holy shit. I wonder if we should cut a lot of it out.
I don't know. It's gold.
It is.
Yeah.
But yeah, if you guys had to work on this movie, what would be your changes to it?
I would strip down the story to be so simple. Make sure that that hallucination scene is 5 minutes max, and kind of just make sure things follow the arc of a story, and give a little more time to the Camp Coral stuff, or do that in the beginning.
Mm-hmm.
What about you, Sab?
First off, if the documentary intro was still in the movie, you know, with like the National Geographic thing, I would have recasted Tim Hill as Tom Kenny because I think he's just a better fitting voice. I wouldn't have Keanu Reeves outside of the flashback. I'd put Camp Coral at the beginning to help establish like the characters and stuff. And honestly, if I had it my way, I wouldn't have had Sandy and Mr. Krabs. Even though I'm not as upset with the Krabs flashback, I feel like not having it there and having like a CGI recreation of a scene from Help Wanted would have done a lot better, and it would have been a nice callback. It would have been just as effective.
I would have cried like a freaking baby if that happened.
Right. Seriously.
I would also tone down some of the pop culture references. Maybe have more original music. I'd keep the gambling. And, I don't know, I'd probably either recast Poseidon or maybe just replace him with King Neptune because, I don't know, even though I don't think he was like a full-on replacement of King Neptune, King Neptune would have worked just as well.
Right.
I don't know what else I'd really change, if I'm being honest, because a lot of the movie has like fantastic elements. Oh wait, another thing I change is that I probably wouldn't make SpongeBob the answer to everything, and the most egregious thing of them all, they called the Patty Wagon the Patty Mobile.
Yeah, that I don't know.
Yeah.
I don't know if I like that they called back the Patty Wagon. It's such a really strange thing to call back in the third SpongeBob movie.
Yeah.
I like the Goofy Goober reference. I thought that was cute and subtle, but the Patty Wagon? And then they're not even calling it the Patty Wagon for some reason. I don't know, that was like a small nitpick.
Yeah, I think it's kind of cool. I don't know, I'm just a sucker for the Patty Wagon. Give it to me. I don't care if it's a shameless reference.
I'm all for the Patty Wagon coming back. I just wish they named it properly. And
Seriously.
You know, the upgrade was pretty good.
Yeah, I think the
Pretty
upgrade's
cool.
cool. I'd like...
Honestly, it's not as iconic.
I'd eat it and get a toy of it.
Honestly, it's not as iconic as the Patty Wagon from the first movie. But,
Yeah.
you know, it's still cool. Not to mention, they could always shrink it down for promotional reasons, I'm sure.
Right.
Speaking
For
of which,
promotional
how
reasons.
come there's no merchandise of it?
Right.
There's no remote control Patty Wagon from this movie. You'd think they would be. You think that'd be like a great selling point.
Right? Well, where's the anything for this movie, right?
Yeah.
Well, they released a bunch of merch in May, but
Oh, yeah.
honestly, none of it was that great.
I would love to see like a documentary of behind the scenes of this movie because it's really gotten shafted. Like,
It's really
I
sad.
really hope there's a DVD featurette. Because there's only a few behind the scenes thing, and they don't even go in that well in depth.
from what it sounds like, it seems like a lot changed. Well, originally wasn't this a wonderful sponge, and it had like a completely different plot?
Yeah.
Well, with the It's a Wonderful Sponge thing, they still had Camp Coral, I know that much, and they still had the celebrity soundtrack. But they said it would have paid tribute to It's a Wonderful Life. But I didn't see any instance of that in this movie.
Yeah.
No. Hearing like what A Wonderful Life is about though, I think that could have worked and been really cool. It kind of fits with like the main story of SpongeBob at the Krusty Krab. But I think it's cool that they went for something else and
Yeah, not to mention, at least the title we have now, even though contradictories, even though a rehash of an already existing title with the mobile app based off of Sponge Out of Water.
yeah.
At least
That
some of the
blows
pop
my
culture
mind.
reference. Because having it be a pop culture reference would have been even more jarring.
Right.
Guys, and why is it the SpongeBob movie? Why can't it just be SpongeBob movie? Why does it got to be the at the beginning?
Yes.
What's going on here?
Just because it's always been that way since 2004.
It's so weird. I was just gonna ask what you guys thought of the end of the movie.
It was cute.
I think. I do like everybody like backing up SpongeBob. I really like them swooping in to do that. It was kind of like if they like fixed the Best Day Ever episode in a way, you know.
Yeah.
Or but and like I don't know, I'm a little mixed on the Poseidon I have no friends thing.
SpongeBob befriends a god.
It seemed like a little too like easy kids movie sort of thing with how easy they got Poseidon. It's like, oh, I don't have any friends. That seems a little too cliche.
Yeah, I agree.
I'll be your friend.
I guess I like how Poseidon was like. Well, it was really funny how I mean, there's a lot of good parts mixed into that. Like it was just funny how SpongeBob was just roasting his friends after he just saved them like unintentionally, and Poseidon's like ready to like murder them, and then he like switches right when SpongeBob says if he had friends like these. And then the line is like, we don't care about appearances, minor imperfection. Yeah.
That was really funny.
Minor or big imperfections. It's like, it's good.
She, SpongeBob, would throw your friends under the bus.
So funny.
You're not the most attractive thing either. Like, look at you. You have like this long dick nose, big bulging eyes, two buck teeth.
Oh shit.
Oh,
Get
sponge
yourself
roast.
a fucking dentist.
Oh shit!
And those dorky clothes you wear. Who the fuck wears a tie?
Damn.
How are you such a beautiful character design? I love to look at because it makes no
And
sense.
put some like powder on your face, boy. Those tiny little holes you have in this movie give me tryphobia.
My coworker who has that said that actually did kind of freak her out.
That's
Yeah,
fair.
I
I
wonder
would not
if
recommend this movie to people with tryphobia.
I wonder if it will trigger people that have tryphobia, cause he is pretty detailed.
It probably will, if I'm being honest. The holes are a lot more apparent in this film than in Sponge Out of Water.
You got holes.
Real quick, just about the ending.
Yeah.
Yeah, still, it was pretty alright. All the snails, everybody getting snails was pretty cute, and then the fucking In Memory of Steven Hillenburg thing is so sweet. They chose the perfect drawing, and it makes me cry. It's really sweet and sad.
Yeah.
I knew they would do something for him.
Right.
Wasn't this one of the last projects he worked on?
I think so. And we don't really know, like, exactly what his last project was, but it's safe to say that this is, like, we know this is his last theatrical movie, which was only theatrical in Canada.
And the music was pretty good at the end too. What was the band, that second band? Or the one that made the Psychic Wall of Energy song?
Flaming Lips.
Yeah, their song at the end, I really love that one.
Yeah, it's so cool they brought them back.
Official Krusty Step remix.
Oh yeah, and I
Krusty
can't
Krab remix.
forget it starts with that. It starts with the the credits start with an official remix of that Krusty Krab Trap song. Trap
Yeah.
remix. It's kind of weird. I mean, It is good. It's just I'm just very weirded out. That's just in the movie.
It is weird, huh?
Yeah.
Yeah, it's so interesting how all the different SpongeBob movies have unique music for their credits. I definitely like this one more than Sponge Out of Water.
They should just put waves in the background again. I love this, but just like I want waves again. That was so cool.
Honestly, I like the pattern they did for this.
Me too.
For the credit,
Yeah.
I like how I do like the pattern they used for the credits. It's very SpongeBob-y.
Uh-huh. I do really love that.
It's definitely an upgrade from Sponge Out of Water. Because that
The
just had
stock
plain
yay
background.
sound was an interesting choice to put in his song. I've used that in so many of my videos, and I've seen it in so many like low budget YouTube videos. It's so funny to see it in this big budget, huge Hollywood movie.
Right, I just like it now. I just think it's hilarious.
I'm gonna be honest, the inclusion of that kid sound in Krusty Step really pissing me off.
Of the yay?
Yeah, it's just so annoying.
Yeah.
I hate its inclusion. It feels so
It's too
Could he
distracting.
not-
energetic.
Could he
Yeah.
not get a group of kids to scream yay for him?
Yeah, they couldn't. There's no way they'd be able to do that. I don't know. What they should have done is they were like, I don't mind it being in there at all. They just should have limited it.
Yeah,
Like,
it's like
let's
every
not
other beat.
have it and every. Let's not have it four
Every
fucking
verse.
times in the chorus.
Yeah.
Yay!
Yeah, I'm not gonna be able to like listen to that.
But I hope someone makes a video of like Krusty Step, but every time there's a stock kid sound effect, it speeds up.
Did they really call it Krusty Step and it's like not even dubstep?
I think I think it's Krabby Step or Krusty Step. Something
Yeah.
Step.
Sab, I got a question for you.
Yes.
What do you think about SpongeBob getting more pet snails? What if that becomes canon and he has more pet snails?
I'm gonna be honest. I
Yeah.
doubt that's gonna become canon.
Oh yeah, it definitely won't, but like what do you think about it? Like according to this movie, he's got more pet snails in some alternate universe.
Honestly, it makes sense. SpongeBob has always been an animal lover.
Mm-hmm.
However, if it does get overboard, then he's just gonna become a crazy snail lady. It's happened in the show before. It might happen again if he doesn't cool it.
I like that they all had like old white man names. Like there was like Fred and Fabio and like just these like generic ass old white dad names. I loved it.
Is Fabio a white name?
I couldn't think of any of the other ones.
I would have gone with Usagi or Deku.
Just a quick point. A quick few little points. Just sliding through the movie here. Did Patrick really have to eat that shit out of the kitty litter for that long? Kinda gross, bro.
That was really gross.
It was, especially when we see Gary's shit.
I know.
Where, like, I'm happy they didn't show it in that scene, but I could have gone without that. What's up with Tim Hill movies and shit eating?
Did
It
they?
happened
his
in
other
Alvin and the
movies?
Chipmunks.
Yeah, Alvin and Chipmunks. Yeah.
Really?
Yeah, there was a scene where like Simon ate shit.
Yeah, they're like making a joke about it being raisins or some shit. I don't
Yeah,
know.
and now we have here Patrick eating shit.
You're just straight up eating shit. He is eating shit. That is a joke. He is eating shit.
Tim Hill, are you trying to tell us something? Are you trying to tell us something, Tim?
And then like there's a scene with like Plankton really in Patrick's ass crack. That was a little excessive.
At least it's not on the screen for too long.
Yeah. It's just like when it's like so detailed like that.
I watched SpongeBob for the plot.
It's funny that there's a scene like similar to that in the second movie where he goes into his belly button and it's like super gross.
Right. I actually.
In the next SpongeBob movie, it gets worse. Plankton goes inside of Patrick's.
Oh God.
I am sorry for putting that image into your head.
I have a hard time imagining Patrick with a just because we've seen him naked so many times.
Good. Don't picture him.
It's good. Stop trying.
Don't.
I did actually feel really bad for Gary in this movie. Like,
Same.
yeah, I actually like felt like I knew we was gonna get him in the end, but I still it felt really bad to see him in that position and to like see the other snails like used up like that.
I agree. It is definitely, there is a lot of animal cruelty.
I thought SpongeBob was gonna like, you know, have a harder talk with him about that. I mean, like, you know, when you see him using those snails like that, you think later he's gonna have like a stern talking to or something, but that doesn't really happen.
Yeah.
He just kind of says why Gary's important to him. Why they love each other.
Changes his ways at least. He releases all those snails.
Yeah, he can love himself. Yeah, he doesn't need the makeup anymore.
Yeah. He's ugly and he's proud.
Right. I love how, yeah, just like everybody's just like, oh no, yeah, you look great.
Well, you gotta give them point for trying. They're not trying to shame him for his appearance.
Yeah,
It's pretty progressive.
I like that. It's a sweet message.
Mm-hmm.
Wait a minute, that's not Patrick Star. Oh, we're looking at a screenshot from the movie, and Sandy's standing above Patrick's name tag thing. Anyways.
So before we wrap up, there's a pretty big revolutionary thing about this movie. There's no after credit scene.
Yeah. They kind of robbed us of that.
Yeah.
What the hell?
0 out of 10.
Not
No
even,
end
0 out of 10?
0 out of 10, no end credits.
The Plankton riding the robot Gary was much better.
Yes.
What was there anything for the first movie?
Yeah, the pirates.
Oh yeah.
You folks have to leave.
You folks have to leave.
So, do you guys have any like final things to say before we wrap up?
I need to see this movie again.
Same.
Right? Me too. I
I
feel
need
like
to watch this movie again.
I'll get a better opinion on it if I rewatch it. There's so much.
It's
But
still,
yeah,
it was a great ride.
It was. It was a lot of fun being able to watch this movie after 5 years of waiting.
Seriously.
I've been looking forward to it. I'm glad I got to watch it with you guys.
Could not have been
Yeah.
more perfect.
Totally.
Yeah, well,
We're
I
just
guess
three
that's
SpongeBobs watching the SpongeBob movie. Icon reference. Thumbnail thing.
Oh yeah.
3 spongies.
I'm the one on the left.
Yes. You need to draw
Yeah.
yours.
Yes, I do.
But the time we're recording this is not finished.
Right? I'm
but I bet it looks great.
yeah. I'm now in the future when you're hearing this, it's done. I did a great
Dang!
job.
That looks so good, Scuff. Woo!
Well, your guys's are amazing, and it's so good. It all goes together. And thank you, Seb,
love your
for
3D
making the
model.
background.
No
Sad.
problem.
In the
I had to
background,
break my
Sab,
rig
you
for
knocked that out of
this.
the park.
You did knock it out the park.
Thanks. Well, as like a poor excuse for a segue to end this, what do you guys think of Sponge on the Run? Do you like it? Do you hate it? Comment below. Please don't kill us for any of our opinions.
Sounds good to me. And Drew, we never gave a number rating. Should we do that too? Let's check real quick. Or you don't have to. I mean, number ratings are like, you know, Arlo's phasing them out.
No, it's required.
Yeah, I don't know if I could do a number rating.
Okay, then don't.
I
Yes.
think Sab was pretty on the money with like a 7. I'm going, yeah.
Drew,
Yeah,
you get a
it's at a
good
7.
noodle. You get a
I
good
would give
noodle store
it-
removed for not
I would
being
give
there.
it a like a lot.
So you give it a lot out of 10?
I like a lot. You know that just means 4 out of 5.
Actually, no. A lot out of 10. Like a lot out of 10 actually means 10 out of 10.
Oh,
Yeah, I
So
give it
you're
a 10
calling
out
it
of
a
10.
perfect movie.
Wow,
Yeah.
Drew. Bold statements. No going back now. Anyways,
Yeah.
guys. Thanks so much for watching. Check out all of our individual channels.
Yeah, it's all set from here.
We love you.
You said it.